Welcome to Quantum Finance. My name is Parker. I'm the head trader here, but I am not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. So, in today's video, we'll take a look at the economic data that came out. We'll go over some news. We'll do a market overview and then we will look at the trades. And to wrap it up, we'll look at the economic data we have coming up for the rest of the week. And remember, if you do like the content, feel free to like and subscribe. So today we did have U.S. retail sales come out down 0.4%, which is worse than forecasted. We also had the core retail sales come in down 0.1%, which is as forecasted. We had the producer price index, or PPI, come in down 0.1%, which is worse than expected. And we did have crude oil inventories come in worse than expected also. So now we'll look at some news. So this is what we woke up to today. The banking crisis did spread to Europe. As you can see, just all the banks getting hit really hard, especially Credit Suisse here. And this did cause the markets to have a massive gap down. As you can see here is the Credit Suisse chart. This is like one of the biggest banks in Switzerland. As you can see, just this thing was up here past $60 back in the day, and now it's down below $2. And these are the credit default swaps on Credit Suisse. As you can see, they're just mooning. And this is the second largest bank in Europe's chart. As you can see, that boy just dropping like a rock. We have the Fed swaps now showing a 100 basis point rate cut by December, which is crazy. I mean, with how these bonds and bond yields are moving, who really knows what's going to happen at this point? Here we have the U.S. retail sales, nominal year-over-year percent change, as you can see, below average. But if you do look at retail sales adjusted for inflation, you do get a much clearer picture of how much worse the situation actually is. We have Swift completing a cross-border CBDC settlement pilot. And we have another post here from Swift about ISO 20022 going live this weekend. And I'm just going to leave this with if you know, you know. All right, now we'll look at the charts. Starting here in the debt market, we do have the 10-year yield here, big red day. Kind of getting continuation to the downside, breaking the low from Monday, still, wicking off this lower support here. The dollar, green day and the dollar bouncing off that lower extreme, getting up through the midline, turning green on the week. We can't scroll through the rest of these yields just because it's crazy. Just so y'all can see what's going on here across the board. Now we'll look at the S&P 500 Spider ETF. We have a green day after a big gap down in stocks, bouncing off that lower band here. Still green on the week. Turning to Bitcoin, we are having a red day here in Bitcoin, getting back inside of this upper extreme. We did get a wick close actually below this upper resistance line. So it would have been really nice to see Bitcoin close up above this resistance, but unfortunately we did wick down and close below the resistance line. So, which is this upper extreme here on the weekly chart. So, yeah, keep an eye out for Bitcoin. We are looking for a weekly close above this resistance up here. XRP, red day and XRP getting rejected off the midline, making its way down to this kind of like wick support area through here. Currently red on the week, getting rejected at that midline. Oil, it's happening. We were talking about oil getting spicy yesterday, and it's happening. We did officially break this low here. As you can see, oil breaking down to the downside, big red day. Yeah, so definitely keep an eye on this. It's getting pretty good wick right now, but I drew that box yesterday from this lower extreme down here around 60 up to these like kind of wick candle closes. That's pretty much the box I drew yesterday, and as you can see it coming right down into that. So yeah, it'd be super interesting to see what happens with oil, if this is just kind of like a spring or if this keeps on coming down here. Gold Green Day here in gold getting continuation still towards, really overextended here to the upside, making its way up towards this monthly high of the high of range here. Silver, Green Day, and silver here, massive wick off this upper extreme here on the daily chart. We're looking for a monthly close here above the midline here on silver. Still got a while, obviously, on that. So that'll do it for the overview. Now let's take a look at the charts. So we'll zoom out here a little bit. Looking, let me get these charts right. Just zoom out a little bit so y'all can see what's going on. Okay, so this was yesterday. We had the gap up, push up into the 200-day, massive rejection with a bounce into the close, but then overnight we did have that contagion spread to the European banks. So we did have a massive gap down here, and we did, kind of fade into the morning, but then just kind of, got bought up into the close. So really just a choppy day, getting a solid close here, again, like yesterday. So, yeah, as you can see here, flipping bullish on these 30 minutes, kind of getting tight here on the 30 as well. Trying to get above these 1 hour EMAs. We can zoom out a little bit more here on the daily chart. As you can see, big Green Day here. Pretty much just, if you look at the advanced volume, I mean, today, that's just a big green candle right there. There's not much selling at all. That's pretty much all buying. So yeah, that is something to note maybe here as we're bouncing off this lower extreme here on the daily. But now we'll take a look at the trades, the 5 minute. Yeah, there wasn't really any trades I liked today on the SPY. We didn't really get any bearish patterns for, big moves to the downside. We did have this support here from, this is Friday's lows that I drew that line from, as you can see, pretty much holding there at that level. Yeah, just pretty choppy action today, not really directional anyway. We had a squeeze in here, but that momentum shifted pretty late down into here, and as you can see, not much of a move at all. So yeah, nothing really here to talk about on the SPY. There was no really good trade setups I like, just kind of a chop fest. We can look at the scanner here. So at the top of the scanner all day, we did have Charles Schwab, and this had a pretty good setup we can talk about. So we opened right here. Yeah, and I mean, this is obviously one of those bank plays, right, where we got just kind of destroyed with that banking crisis, and it's just trying to recover here. But as you can see, we had this downtrend. I mean, this was at the top of the gap ball, so I was watching this. Obviously, I usually watch whatever stock's at the top. And as you can see, we opened up down here. Or we opened up right here. Got our push up, trying to break through this downtrend line. We finally got the break. We got our momentum shift to the downside, and then we got a reversal to the upside with our squeeze. And then we got our push up to new highs on the day, running into this resistance from yesterday. Not really able to get through it, but I can show you these contracts. On these contracts, we were looking at the $60 call contracts. Were these? Yeah, these were definitely the ones we were looking at. And then, so your entry would be around here in this momentum shift off this retest of this downtrend line. We'll call it about $1.02. When you get up to that first profit target there with that resistance from yesterday, you're looking at a 65% gain. And as you can see, it never really extended much on above that. So 65% gain, pretty solid on that Charles Schwab options trade there for the bank recovery. AMD, we didn't. This one didn't have a very good squeeze. Let's see what else we had. When it came to squeezes, yeah, this is another bank stock that we had that we're gonna look at. New York Community Bank. As you can see, it got its push up, its pull back, its momentum shift to the upside with a squeeze, and its push to highs. Let me go back to Schwab, actually. We need to talk about that more because it was at the top of the scanner, and it did have a nice trade. So we can actually zoom out here more on Schwab, so you can kind of see what was happening. I mean, if you look at that 2 hour, we had that massive drop, and this was just kind of like a recovery kind of trade. So I'm going to zoom in here more on the 30 minutes so you can see what happened. We got the massive drop down. We kind of got the recovery through here. We got our crosses on our moving average. Our 9 crossed above the 20 and above VWAP. So we did get a bullish cross here on the 30 minute to act as support as we were breaking and retesting that downtrend line. And if you zoom in more on the 1 hour here too, you can see this 1 hour 9 EMA coming in, holding in support above the open before pushing it up, and it looks like we're about to get a fully bullish cross here to the upside. I was hoping that it would come and retest these highs, like up where this upper extreme is lining up with the highs from yesterday, but we didn't. It wasn't that strong. We did have these 30-minute, bands up here as resistance. And we can look at the daily chart here just so you can get an idea of like what kind of bounce play this was. I mean, you can just see the big drop from that banking crisis. And yeah, this New York Community Bank, it was just another kind of recovery play, as you can see, getting its push up. It's pulled back into VWAP, squeeze, momentum shift to the upside with a move to the upside. Intel here, I mean, this wasn't really on the scanner until later in the day, but it kind of it didn't have the best squeeze. I wasn't even really looking at this because it really wasn't on the scanner. So we're not even going to talk about this because you can see how bad this was. I mean, we can zoom out a little bit more. I mean, this wasn't the worst trade. It was just chopped you to death if you got in too early, right? If you got in with this 30-minute coming in below this 50-day, I mean, you would have got stopped out. This was just, it caught a bid here off this 1 hour 9 EMA before getting it squeezed to the upside. So yeah, I mean, I don't like this price action very much, so I wouldn't have traded this. And because it's stuck in between this yesterday's high, this 100-day and 50-day, this is just a lot of technicals going on here. So yeah, we didn't really trade that. Open Door was another one that was at the top of the scanner for most of the day that we were watching, and it did have a squeeze here. As you can see here, it's got its push up, its pullback, consolidation, momentum shift to the upside with the squeeze, and our push to new highs of the day. Yeah, this was a 30-minute trade line VWAP cross, as you can see right here, as we broke our downtrend. We did have the kind of the 1 hour coming up here too, and then obviously, as you see on the 30-minute, this was above yesterday's highs. Yesterday's highs acting as support here. And this upper line was what we had drawn from this previous swing high here, as you can see, getting pretty close to it there into the close. Yeah, those were really the only squeezes I wanted to talk about today. There was the Charles Schwab squeeze. It was at the top of the board, so that was like pretty much the number one squeeze. 65% on those call options. New York City Bank, it was just another one of those bank setups. Not a bad trade, but I didn't really look at this one that much, to be honest. So I want to look at these options to see if it even really had any playability. Nah, I didn't really have that much playability. I mean, it was on the list. You could have bought the shares outright, but that was another squeeze opportunity. Yeah, and so yeah, that'll do it. There was Open Door too. Open Door did have some options available. Not that much, obviously, but there was some. But it was also a really cheap stock sitting here at $1.63, so you could have just bought this outright as well to take advantage of that. So yeah, overall some good trades. The best options trade was on Schwab, and then we had New York City Bank and Open Door for other good squeezes. And like I said, yeah, no really good squeezes here on the S&P 500, just kind of a chop fest. So yeah, that'll do it for the trades. Now we'll look at what we have coming up for the rest of the week. So tomorrow, Thursday, March 16th, we have building permits, initial jobless claims, and the Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Index. So that'll do it for today's video. Appreciate y'all watching, and I will talk to y'all later.